Welcome to the December 21st, 2021 episode of Reactive Consciousness. 21, 21, 21, 12, 21, 21. Oh, man. The in-depth podcast about what happened this week in our lives. I'm your host, vysethebold, and this is...
Lotus Prince.
So many ones and twos, Lotus.
That's true. That's true.
It would be binary if there were zeros instead of twos.
Did you know that there are... Well, I can't say it out loud or the joke doesn't work. I was going to say there are 10 kinds of people, the kind that know binary and the kind that don't. But if I say the word 10 out loud, then it doesn't work at all.
No, that's a reading joke.
Yeah, you have to write it, yeah. There are 1-0 people who know binary, or kinds of people, whatever.
Exactly. But anyway, we had a lot of things that happened this week, so I kind of want to get going. So on CoreCon, we went over the Game Awards, and we just basically went over the awards. We didn't go over any of the announcements, so I, of course, wanted to address those, because there's some good stuff in here. And I'm only going to do the highlights. I'm not going to do every little thing. But I did want to go over them. I mean, the one that I'm most excited about is like the big headlining one, which was Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which is a fantastic title.
Yeah, and normally I wouldn't care so much, but this is by Rocksteady,
exactly.
the Arkham Asylum people.
Yeah. So Rocksteady has maybe made the best superhero games of all time. It's up there with Spider-Man. Spider-Man's the only other one in the same league, if you ask me.
Yeah, Insomniac, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Though, Guardians is really fucking good.
Yeah, I've heard Guardians is fantastic.
I've been playing that I played a little bit more over the weekend, and it's just like watching a movie. It's so good. They nailed the feel and the aesthetic, and also just like the gameplay, and like the characters, like everything. It feels like the movie version of the Guardians, which is good because, you know, the comic book version nobody cares about. But well, I mean, they do now. They probably like retrofitted those characters in the comics currently to be more like the movie counterparts, which is, you know, fine by me. Yeah, this looks fantastic. I can't wait. I mean, and the Suicide Squad is, like, you know, of course, getting better all the time. I mean, the last movie was really good. I enjoyed that. So I'm sure Harley Quinn's in this and all that jazz.
All it took was to not completely interfere with the director's vision, and what do you know? The movie, whether you like it or not, is what was intended.
Well, you know, an artistic, like, having an artistic direction, even in a licensed product, is a good thing. I mean, it means that somebody cares about these characters and
that's the thing. Like,
something.
You may not like the movie, but it's not going to be, like, a meddled with mess.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and DC should know that by now. Like, they've just screwed up so much shit. I mean, they should have allowed Snyder to release, you know, what he originally wanted to release.
Yeah, which is, from what I've heard, not great, but way better.
Yeah, it would have been a more successful movie in the theater, that's for sure. You know, and the original Suicide Squad movie might be the worst of all of them, like, of all the superhero movies, like, in the recent era, you know, going back to MCU and DC movies, the original Suicide Squad movie might be the absolute worst out of everything. I can't think of a worse title. Can you?
I mean, I haven't seen any of the DC movies, so, like, I'm not going in with actual intimate knowledge, but I'm gonna go ahead and say no.
Batman v Superman's pretty bad. Wonder Woman 2 is pretty bad. I don't know. Yeah. But I think Suicide Squad's worse than all of them. But yeah, the new version, the second Suicide Squad movie was excellent.
Yeah, the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, it was excellent. I mean, by the same guy who made Guardians, so it should.
Yeah, it turns out that shockingly,
surprised.
the guy who makes good movies makes good movies.
Yeah, especially if you give him the ability to do so. So yeah, James Gunn is like one of my favorite directors. I like the stuff he did before. He was a big name talent. He's basically he started at Trauma, which is kind of funny. It's just like this big name director.
Well, it's like Peter Jackson. He made fucking Brain Dead, and then he makes Lord of the Rings.
He made a really weird, X-rated Muppet movie. Not like X-rated, but R-rated Muppet movie. Yeah. Is it Meet the Feebles? Yeah.
Oh, that.
Yeah. He's made a lot of weird stuff. What was the Michael J. Fox, The Frighteners? That movie. He made a lot of. I don't know how he convinced people to give him enough money to make Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, let me bring back the fantasy genre.
Yeah, I mean it worked, but goddamn. Based on his repertoire, it's like the guy who won the award for most amount of fake blood pumped onto a set at one time.
Yeah.
For Brain Dead or Dead Alive or whatever you want to call it. But anyway, and Quantic Dream making a new Star Wars
Eclipse
game.
Actually looks and sounds good. Don't care.
Yeah, I don't care either. Quantic Dream doesn't have a very good track record, but somehow they have their fans. They must have their fans because.
Well, I generally like the way their games play out. It's definitely not for everybody, and there are obviously flaws, but I kind of like how Indigo Prophecy and Heavy Rain work. But, oh well, fuck Quantic Dream.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't played anything after Heavy Rain. I mean, they had a whole bunch of stuff.
I saw a bunch of Heavy Rain, but I've only actually played Indigo Prophecy and Omicron.
Oh, okay.
Omicron was way too ambitious for its own good.
Yeah, I mean that it's almost unplayable.
It's very difficult to figure out.
Yeah. Moving on from that, a new Wonder Woman game by Monolith Productions. I think this is the third Monolith company that makes video games. So I don't know what they've done because it's very confusing. I
thought mono meant one, but clearly I'm wrong.
Well, there's Monolith Soft, who made the Xenoblade games, and then there's the guys who made FFVIIR. I think.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, there's it's a bunch of different games. Oh wait, no, this is them. Oh, okay, it is that Monolith. Okay, now that's okay. They're the ones that made Condemned and a whole bunch of other first-person shooters that are very beloved. What is it? They made Shadow of Mordor, FFVIIR. Okay, yeah, No One Lives Forever. Yeah, this is the same company, Blood. Okay.
Oh, No One Lives Forever. Wow, they collaborated with Oingo Boingo.
Tron 2.0, Aliens vs Predator 2. Okay, yeah, this is a good company. So, they've made a lot of cool stuff over the years. So, this is actually pretty exciting then if they're making a Wonder Woman game. And then this one's a big one, Alan Wake 2. That's really interesting, especially considering that they've really done a lot with that universe.
Well, that's what I was going to mention. I honestly thought the game was kind of mediocre, but I love its story, and I love where it's gone into both its DLC and mentions of it in Control. So I'm hoping that Alan Wake, the character, finally gets out of his situation, because he's just in this shit forever. I hope that Alan Wake 2 has an actual conclusion. That'd be nice.
Well, if it's anything like a Stephen King book, it won't end the way you want it to.
Oh my god. If they do the Dark Tower 2, or the Dark Tower 2, if they do the Dark Tower finale, well, that'd be a little too
I was going to say, that's probably the most effective ending he's ever written, honestly.
Yeah, he does have a lot of... Oh, didn't he, cameo in it too, acknowledging that he has a lot of unsatisfying endings.
I mean, that's more like making fun of his fan base than anything, but I think. But I mean, The Stand is like that. I mean, it just has an unsatisfying ending.
Yeah, that was.
It has one of the it's one of the best like horror like novels of all time, and the end is just bad.
It really is, because that implies that like it'll never get that bad in anything in his universe if that's allowed to happen.
Yeah, exactly. It's literally the like the thing that every writing like class tells you not to do. It's like the first rule. Like it's literally the most hackneyed, terrible ending that you could give something.
Yeah. In fact, and I'm not going to say what it is because it's a spoiler for anyone who hasn't read this 30-40-year-old
and it's
book.
Very literal, that.
Yeah, I was going to say there is an expression specifically for this kind... Well, it's not for this kind of writing, but like it was for something else in the past, but it's become an expression for this kind of writing.
Greek mythology, yeah.
Yeah, okay, you know what I'm talking about, yeah.
Exactly. It's literally from Greek mythology, but yep. Because that's what they used to do.
And it made more sense in that context, because that's how a lot of those stories worked, but today it just feels like cheap
It's just bad writing. Yeah. It's just bad writing. Yeah, you're supposed to be able to get out of the situation with your ingenuity, or, you know, or by learning something.
Or you fail to get out of it.
Or you fail, yeah. Or you fail while trying.
Yeah.
And this is not how that ends.
Yeah.
Anyway, Forspoken still looks really good. This was the first game ever shown off for the PS5.
It looks really good, but yeah. I didn't see the trailer for it at the Game Awards, but I saw a trailer for it at some previous award thing or whatever it was. But like, could we maybe like shut up for 5 minutes while we're playing the game? Like that got really grating on me. Like, whoa, it's crazy. I'm jumping and I got powers. Like, I get that in the first 5 minutes. But could we please shut the fuck up? This isn't like 2005, 2010, where
you're right.
We're just like, this has never been done before, so I'm gonna run it into the ground. It's grating to hear your character just keep remarking on what they're doing. It's like Sonic Boom: Rise of Lyric. Like, it's cute a couple of times, and it's grating every other time.
All right, that's fair.
But the gameplay looks great.
If there's like another character that they can bounce off of, that would be better.
It would be better, but not great, because it'll still get old. But it, like, I mean, well, there kind of is another character though. It's that bracelet she's wearing, because there's like a being in it or whatever that's granting her these like video game character powers. But it's like, whoa, I'm like jumping through the air and I'm able to like swing around. Oh man, this is crazy that I can do this. And it's like, all right. I like, video games have been around for like over half a century. Could we please just let me continue playing the game?
Yeah, no, I get it. Next one that looked like it was pretty interesting was Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. Hellblade,
I still need to play the first one. I hear it's
fantastic.
Hellblade
has a lot of fans. It's made by Ninja Theory, which has a lot of cult hits, and that one might just be their biggest hit, Hellblade, because it was a very... like they said, it was like a single A video game. Like it was a short game.
It's a high budget,
with a decent
game.
budget. Yeah, exactly. And I think they were the first team to call it one of their projects something like that. And it, honestly, I love that. I think I prefer that, because I want a 20-hour experience. I don't want a 100-hour experience anymore for every game.
Yeah.
I just don't have
Speaking of
time.
which, Beat Like a Dragon.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I need to go back to it. I just keep getting distracted. But yeah, I just need to... You know what it is, Lotus? I got into the like the business management game, and I find it boring. I find it boring.
On one hand, completely optional. On the other hand,
it's very helpful.
That is how you make money.
Yeah,
and
I know.
It's like, I mean, you know that game has sub-stories. This is like the super sub-story. Like, it's a whole arc in and of itself.
Yeah.
I knew what I was doing, and I was there forever because I wanted to actually beat it. You can get so much money that way. You'll just be swimming in cash, but like, God help you, man. You're never gonna... if once you enter, you don't leave.
I know, and that's the problem.
If you want to just beat the game, then just go... I mean, it will be useful to get you money for buying stuff, because
that's what I want.
For a good portion of early game, a very good portion of early game, you were just constantly low on money. So that's your out, but
I'm finally
it takes
at the
a
point,
while.
I'm finally at the point where I can upgrade my weapons and stuff like that, so it's
yeah,
like...
and if you want to max weapons, that adds up so fast.
Yeah,
that you will be spending millions.
Yeah, and I need also to, get all my vocational tests done on all that stuff.
Well, no, you don't, but again, it's very good to do that, so that's why it's frustrating.
I want to.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why you play the game. You play the game to get all this stuff, but...
Yeah, I was just going to mention, like, I'm playing Lost Judgment, and I'm trying to go through New Game Plus, like, on hard mode, and if you skip the cutscenes and you just run from checkpoint to checkpoint, that game is so fast. It's just like, oh, there's a fight now. Okay, anyway. Oh, there's a fight now. Oh, chapter's over. And like it's very unsatisfying that way.
Yeah, I'm just I'm just dreading having to put a lot of time into that stupid minigame. But it's okay. I will go back to it.
Yeah, that's your cash out, but you will sink so much time into that.
Is there, like, a guide that maybe I could just follow?
Oh, sure, yeah, just go to GameFAQs and look up the subsection that is that. Like, there is a right way to do it, which will still take time, but better. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to do that so I don't have to think about it, because I want to get back to the game proper.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, Hellblade is, was very good because it actually dealt with real mental illness, not like video game mental illness, like people, like a character with a real problem.
Yeah.
So, this is, and from not a modern era, so that's like a unique take on something like that. So, it hit home with a lot of people, and it was done in a respectful way, in a way that, like, makes the game worth playing. So I'm looking forward to playing this, even though like I haven't played the first one yet. Like,
same. I will play it. I just gotta play it.
Exactly, I will play it. Elden Ring, which is the most anticipated game we have right now,
and that's so funny to me. FromSoft was an utter joke in the PlayStation era, except for
people
maybe
used
Armored
to make
Core.
fun of it. Yeah, people used to make fun of it in the PS1 era,
and it was just totally experimental in the PS2 era. Again, except for Armored Core. And by PS3, I don't know who cared about Armored Core anymore. Maybe you've heard of 3D Dot Game Heroes, maybe. But then Dark Souls comes along. Not even Demon Souls. Demon Souls kind of. But then Dark Souls comes along.
I mean, Demon Souls was a player's choice hit. I mean,
it helped, but like you had to have a PS3. Dark Souls was like actually accessible, and everybody wanted more and more Souls. Bloodborne came. It was somehow a system seller. The remake of Demon Souls, which I find so funny, because Demon Souls is still like $10. Like, the remake of Demon Souls was like a launch title for like, look at what we could do with the PS5 and how cool it is. And now everybody's clamoring for Elden Ring, apparently forgetting the articles that get published every single time a Souls game is released, which is, should these things maybe have an easy mode? These things are fucking hard and annoying, but now everybody wants Elden Ring. So I don't know.
This game's supposed admittedly looks like it sounds like it's supposed to be more accessible to a wider audience.
Yeah, it is not another Souls title.
No, it's not supposed to be like Bloodborne. It kind of has
the aesthetic, but yeah, it's a different game. It's like Sekiro, like you thought it would be Souls, but you were wrong.
Well, Sekiro is a challenging game from them, and was just, was excellent.
Yeah, I mean, it was a different kind of challenging. It was like
different.
Tenchu challenging, not Souls challenging. And Elden Ring, exactly. I don't know what that's going to be. Maybe original. Who knows?
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be like more Zelda-like, if that makes any sense. Like, it just
just run around.
Zelda. Yeah, like Zelda. But anyway, George R. R. Martin is somehow involved. I don't know. But
so I guess it's shocking that the game is actually finished.
Yeah, there will be lots of descriptions of food and lots of talking about...
well, what a terrible ending the TV adaptation is.
Well, I was just going to say that, like lots of rapes.
Yeah, no fucking kidding.
Yeah, but anyway. But Sonic Frontiers, which is really interesting. So this is the first free roaming Sonic game, which needed to happen
we
for a long
almost
time.
Had that with the Sonic Adventure 1, 2, and 3, which was Sonic 06, like in the hub worlds. Like, it was like, you can
this is where Sonic's needed to go for a long time, honestly.
Yeah, just actually fully run around, because like you could run around the hubs of all of those games. But the levels were pretty, like, they looked big in 3D, but they were pretty much linear, and it kind of felt better that they were. But an actual free-roaming idea is interesting. Although I will say Sonic Boom also has a degree, again, not in the levels, but there's a degree of it when you just run around the island. But yeah, Frontiers looks like it's going to be full on, which is interesting.
This was first explored in a indie game, like a fan-made game. Like somebody made a free roaming level of Sonic, where you could just do what you wanted and explore.
Sure.
I think that's where Sonic's needed to go for a long time.
Yeah, Mario went there, right? Like Mario Odyssey, for example, and even kind of Mario 64.
But Sonic has unique abilities that are well suited to gigantic areas.
Yes, the homing jump and everything.
Just like the speed in general, and
being
able to go up,
warp thing on
go
the
up,
rings.
Go up walls. Go in, loop de loops and all that stuff.
And then you get Tails involved, and it even more.
Exactly. So I think this is now Sonic Team screws up a lot, so I'm not going to say this is going to be good.
Well, I was going to mention that actually. Like, do you remember how insanely awesome everybody thought Sonic 06 was going to be?
Oh, well, see, this is the Sonic cycle, right? Like, anytime, like, something, it's like, oh, there's optimism, and then it just, lets you down.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, this is a new idea, so,
yes.
I'm more optimistic about it than not.
Yeah.
Now, whether it will actually be good, that's time will tell, but, I keep saying this to people that online, especially like this Sonic fandom, which bothers me because like I was a gigantic Sonic fan, like a huge one, around the time of the Dreamcast. Like I collected the comics and everything, and I bought everything Sonic related I could. And now I just see them like endlessly talking about these characters like they have any sort of depth whatsoever, and they don't.
That is the thing. Like Sonic Riders comes out, look, more animal people, but oh well, it could have been anyone else.
Yeah, I don't get it.
It's like Sonic Heroes, right? You have the 3 sets of heroes, or maybe it was 4 sets, I forgot. But they're all the same. You have your heavy, you have your light, and you have your medium, and like, okay, Team Chaotix is in it for the money, but like, whatever. They all have similar dynamics.
You know what I've settled on, Lotus, with the Sonic fandom is they're kind of like the people that really love Tron. It's not so much the actual thing; it's the aesthetic that they like.
Well, I was going to say the same with Star Wars. It's like. Yeah. There's a lot of really good Star Wars content out there, but if you're just talking about the movies, then people just are clinging to the 70s and 80s and thinking they still like it. Not even the original trilogy, but thinking they still like Star Wars.
I mean, I can name, like, only about, like, half a dozen really good Sonic games, right? You have the original, like, 3 games plus Knuckles, so like I don't know if you want to count that as 4 games or whatever, but that's 3 or 4 games, right?
Literally 4, but technically 3.
Okay, come on, you know what I mean by calling
and Sonic
it that.
CD, like it's not my favorite,
Sonic CD,
I'll give that a pass.
No, but you can't discount that one. That's one of the good ones, right?
Yeah, and despite the heavy jank, there's Sonic Adventure 1 and 2.
And you have Generations, and then you have Colors. People like Colors.
Yeah, and even Unlimited. People made fun of the Werehog, but like Unlimited has probably
Unleashed.
The best regular Hedgehog
Unleashed
level. Oh, did I say Unleashed? You're right. The Werehog is okay. The regular Hedgehog levels are actually like very, very good. When you like, I've mentioned this before. When you do the boost stuff, like Sonic has never felt so fast in a series where it's about going fast.
And you have Mania, right? And then
oh yeah, Mania. Not that that's a Team Sonic, but yes, it's a good Sonic game.
Well, no, but that's an official Sonic game.
It is.
So, like, that's it. Like, all the rest of them are not good.
Well, there's the handheld stuff. There's like Rush.
Okay, there's Rush and Rush Adventure. I forgot about Rush and Rush Adventure. I really do like the first Rush, especially.
And the Game Boy Advance stuff is like hit or miss.
No, none of the Game Gear stuff is good by today's standards. Maybe the first game, not the second game.
Okay.
The second game is ridiculously hard. And you would run out of batteries before you figured it out.
Remember that time there was a BioWare Sonic game? I love bringing that up every time. It's funny to me.
But yeah, like out of a gigantic series like that, that's like those are only the only ones that like are worth a damn, right?
Yeah, the storybook games on the Wii are not good. Most of the Game Gear stuff
the Sonic
is bad.
Boom
3D Blast
Boom
is like acceptable but not great.
The Sonic Boom games are not good. Spinball's not good.
Well, from what I've heard, the second Sonic Boom game is. Wait, so the Wii U game is bad. From what I've heard, the 3DS game is actually pretty alright. Like the Fire and Ice, I haven't played it, but I've heard it was way better than
Heroes. Isn't that great? Let's face it.
Heroes is pretty bad, yeah.
I mean, just like what was the Forces?
There's also Sonic Advance, right?
I was gonna say, I did mention that in passing, but
okay.
Yeah, Sonic Advance 1, 2, and 3. Those are pretty good.
At least one of those advances actually could be connected to Adventure. I forgot one, or maybe I think it was Adventure 2, like on the GameCube.
Yeah, but you know what I mean, like
yeah, a lot of Sonic games are just not good, but maybe the next one will be, it's like Silent Hill. Maybe the next one will be good, even though I keep hating them after 4.
Yeah. But anyway, moving on. This is a game that nobody expected. A Lord of the Rings game starring Gollum.
Yeah, that's shocking. Like, what do you do? Just throttle people in their sleep?
It's a stealth-based game, so
it makes sense.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to play as Gollum.
It's very weird. Like, and not to mention, like, until Frodo meets him and he starts rediscovering what degree of not humanity but hobbit-manity he has, like, he's just an animal.
Well, he's there to continually remind Sam and Frodo, this is what you will become if you let the ring get to you.
But that's the thing, like, until he runs into Frodo and Sam, so like in like the 100 years before that point, he's just an animal. So like, are you playing as him like during Lord of the Rings? Because if you are, then he just skulks around.
I don't think so. I would think that this would have to be at some point before he meets Bilbo, or be in between Bilbo and Frodo.
I would imagine early after he gets the ring, because by the time he meets Bilbo, I keep saying this, he's just an animal. Like, the orcs tolerate him because he doesn't go after them, I guess. Like, whatever. He brings food to Shelob or something. He's supposed
to be a hermit character that lives in the fucking cave. I mean, nobody's supposed to know about him.
He's just guy in dark. Like, I don't know what you're going to do. Go fishing for the entire game?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm sure they could make a good game out of it, but like, what?
What are you doing to him? Yeah, I don't know. And Tiny Tina's Wonderland's another side character you never thought would get it's a video game, but
well, she's had her own DLC though, hasn't she? Like, she's popular.
Sure. And it's like, what you playing? What's her name?
Hey Ash, what you playing?
Yeah, she does the voice.
Yeah, she voices her. I did get a kick out of the part in the trailer where I forgot what it was. Like, there's some weapon you have that's maybe it was a sword or something that doesn't jive with Borderlands, or like some explosive thing. Oh no, because that was it. You're set in like some medieval era, but you have like explosive guns or something. And Tina was like, "Now you might be wondering why those are in a medieval setting. Shut up, they're cool. The explosions." It's like, you know what? All right.
Well, she's supposed to be like basically like a DM in a Dungeons and Dragons like.
Yeah, like fuck thing. You. It's a video game. Have fun. Like if the video game is gonna come at me like that, then you know what? Okay, perfect. I get it.
Star Trek Resurgence, which I actually I kind of have hope for, because this is a story-based Star Trek game, so immediately that is the correct choice. So what's wrong with Star Trek and current Star Trek and modern Star Trek is that they try to action it up. And Star Trek is about diplomacy and using force only when you need to.
And even a lot of the movies did that too, like in the TNG era. It's like, what if we just cut loose? It's like, but what?
Yeah, like what made Picard a good captain was that he used diplomacy like he was the best diplomat like in fiction during the time. He wanted to play by the rules and be fair to everyone.
Yeah, like the climax of an episode was like a speech. Like if you're into it, like if you're into it for like the Star Wars stuff where like the action is cool and relevant to what's going on, and you're like, where's the explosions in Star Trek? Like that wasn't the point.
Yeah, that stuff was rare, and only happened basically against the Borg, because like the Borg, like,
Yeah, there's
are
no
mindless.
there's no
There's
diplomacy.
no
There's no
diplomacy.
talking to the Borg.
Yeah, exactly. They're space zombies. So this is the right choice, because a lot of people say that the best Star Trek game of all time is like the 25th anniversary game, which is basically just running through like an episode of the original series that never happened. So like making choices, dialogue options, having it being story based with maybe a little bit of action is what Star Trek is about, or classic Star Trek is about. So not J.J. Abrams' Star Trek, of course. So
Yeah, like I had fun with the 2009 movie, but then I realized later, because I'd never watched Star Trek, that like that's not really what Star Trek. That was like Star Wars, except the actors were playing Star Trek characters.
like the more you watch it, the more you realize how silly it is.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. It's like when you first saw it, you were like, that's pretty cool, and then you watched it again, and you're like, actually not really.
Yeah.
And then the second one is even more that. And I hear the third one was pretty good, but I never
Yeah, I heard
saw
the third
it.
one was good.
Yeah. So, but that what I'm saying is Star Trek thrives in a dialogue-heavy game. So, Matrix Resurrections plus Awakens, a lot of people are like singing this praise. This is the one that leaked out that we talked about a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So the Unreal 5 experience. A lot of people are saying that this is the experience that they hoped the PS5 would bring. So the graphics in it are unparalleled. And could not run on anything before it. Like it's just that cool looking and complicated in terms of physics and particle effects and all that kind of stuff. And the amount of like area you can transition to and all that kind of stuff. So apparently this is a really awesome experience and kind of a really fun playground to get around in. Apparently it's like highly recommended. This is like a really cool thing that people are saying is really neat about. By the way, that fourth movie looks pretty good. I'm like, the more I see of it, the more I want to watch it. So
yeah, and by the time you're hearing this podcast, it'll be out tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm debating, because I'm gonna see Spider-Man on Christmas Day. So I don't know when I'll be able to get to see Matrix, but I probably could see it at home because I have HBO Max, but I want to see it in the theater, so I don't know how my schedule's going to allow. So we'll see. The Expanse, a Telltale series, I know people that absolutely love the Expanse series, so I'm sure it's a good pick for a Telltale game. Also, Telltale Games doesn't have the best track record.
No.
I'm interested to see what they do with that, but it's not a series that I am following, so I don't have any love for it quite yet, but I'm sure there are plenty of people that do. And a new 4X action game for Dune, Dune Spice Wars. Now, I absolutely loved the movie. I
haven't seen a
really
Dune
good
game since, like, what, the Genesis?
Yeah, probably Dune 2, which is, like, the original... was it the Sega CD had Dune, right? And then Dune 2 is considered the genesis of the, real-time strategy genre, right?
Yeah, it's a really old entry in that.
It's considered, like, even before Command and Conquer 1. It's considered the first PC game that's like that. I think Herzog's Vi gets some of the credit for being, like, the forerunner, but really it begins with Dune 2. But yeah, I mean, that's the perfect thing to go with that kind of gameplay. So, the Dune world is very fascinating and has a lot of background and lore to it. You can do a lot with it in the video games, so I think it's great. Also, Nintendo Indie World Showcase happened while we were didn't know it was going to happen last week, because like that's the way Nintendo rolls. They're like, okay, We have one next week, or tomorrow, I mean. Here it is. That kind of thing. So Nintendo's kind of cool like that. I actually do like that, and they don't experience very many leaks, which is thankful. But I only picked up some highlights because again, we don't have enough time to go through everything. But Sea of Stars looks really neat. That's an RPG prequel to The Messenger. They happen in the same universe. Mm-hmm. And it's like JRPG style. It kind of looks like Chrono Trigger, like in terms of like battle system.
Yeah, this
and
was
stuff
supposed
like
to be a big resurgence.
Yeah,
like,
so
about that aesthetic. Like, I mean, I kickstarted that way back when.
Oh, what, Sea of Stars was a Kickstarter game? I didn't know that.
Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah, this is by no means a new announcement. It's just that Nintendo's shouting it out like the new announcement is that it's going to be released on the Switch as well.
Well, The Messenger was a beautiful game, and a lot of people really loved it. I never got a chance to beat it.
Yeah, I wasn't interested because I'm not into Ninja Gaiden stuff, but that game, I've seen it played. It looks like it plays gorgeous, and I can't believe that Sea of Stars is in the same universe. Like, what a difference.
It doesn't seem like it, yeah. Which means it'll probably be interesting, the way that it connects. Next one is River City Girls 2. This has been long announced. In fact, it's been delayed until summer, but it looks fan-freaking-tastic. The first game was beautiful, one of the best like pixel art
animation
games
they went
ever.
Way out, yeah.
And the music is just phenomenal. Megan Duffy is back for the second one doing the music, so very happy about that. You could play as a lot of different characters from the very beginning. It's not just the two girls,
including Marion, which amuses me.
Yeah, and you could play as Kunio and what's the other one?
Yeah, other guy. Yeah,
Alex. But yeah, I'm just Ricky. Ricky's the other guy.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, Kunio and Ricky. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this game in particular because I really love the River City games in general, and these are like the best of them. Like and it's made by Way Forward and people that care about it.
Yeah, I read the HG 101 entry on that. Like, that game like gets pretty meta toward the end when they're there's one point where they refer to like an esoteric title in the Kunio universe that they like explicitly mention was never released in America, and only like the most diehard fans are gonna have any idea of what they're talking about because I don't know this shit.
What's cool is they're including a fan translation, an official translation of that game finally with the new one.
Oh, that's great.
They're calling it River City Girls 0, which is Kunio-kun Tenshin no Bonka or something like that. It's like, you know, a beat 'em up game for the Super Famicom that never made it over, and they're translating it, so you can play it. So that's pretty awesome. It's basically like, you know, a Kunio-kun beat 'em up that is really good that we never got. So
yeah,
looking very forward to that. There's Locomotive, that is a pixelated murder mystery game that takes place on a train. You know,
yeah, that title is genius. Like, just to repeat what Vice just said, it's Locomotive. Like, that's excellent.
Yeah. I first of all, you know, us, we love murder mystery games, like me and
I thought you were gonna say
Lotus
stupid puns, but all right.
we do love stupid puns too, but we love murder mystery games, and like, this is way up our alley.
And not only that, but like
Murder on the Orient Express kind of aesthetic.
I was just gonna mention that's like one of the more famous murder mystery like novels
things. Yeah,
like it's way up there.
Yeah. So I mean, like, sign me up. I mean, like, I was all about the Sexy Brutale and you know,
Sexy Brutale
Ace Attorney, Danganronpa, any of those, 999. I love the whole thing.
Yep.
So I'm all about this. This is a game I'm definitely gonna get. Ollie Ollie World. This is so much expanded from the original concept of the first two games. I am really looking forward to this game. It looks really good. So Ollie Ollie was basically just kind of an arcadey game where you were just giving a bunch of different levels, and you have to, you know, you have to accomplish a bunch of different goals that you're set in those levels, and it's basically like an endless runner. You know, it has an end though. It's a runner game, but it's on a skateboard and you have to do tricks. And it was really good and felt really good, but like, you know, it was very much an arcade game. You played one level and you tried to do your best and score your highest and hit certain thresholds and things like that.
Yeah, like it was like a 2D game, right?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
it makes me think of like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, like level 1 of the first game where you're in a warehouse, do as well as you can, go.
Yeah, but it's 2D.
Yes.
So it was excellent, really good. Both of them were great. They both had a great aesthetic and good music too. But this is like an adventure game, like a big, huge world where you can explore and do all kinds of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to it because I really like those games. I think it's fun. And then there's Omori, which this was like that one last thing that Nintendo does. So this seems to be the one that they're pimping the hardest. This is a game that is developed and designed by artist Omocat. I don't know who Omocat is, but apparently they're famous. And it's supposed to have like a very heavy-hitting story where they even do like kind of a trigger warning in the one last thing. They're like there's some serious stuff in here. Like be warned. So I'm looking forward to that. I mean, it probably has some heavy emotion kind of stuff going on in it. So I'm happy about that. And those are like the biggest things. So you know, there were a lot more than that, but these are the ones I'm really interested in specifically. Oh, and you broke this one to me, Lotus, this story here.
Yeah, like Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I think it comes with Intergrade, came out on PC recently via the Epic Game Store. It's an Epic Store exclusive, probably a temporary exclusive, but whatever. Like, this is brand new. But apparently it sucks. Like, there's a lot of, like, skipping and stuff like that, even on high-end computers, and it just runs terribly, and everyone's like, how do you mess up this bad? Square Enix, what is your problem? It turns out, is this just a terrible port? No. Apparently they like sent the debug build of the game and not the finished game, and that's what you just bought on the Epic Game Store
for $70.
Yeah, for $70 fucking dollars, like $10 more than it was at launch a year ago.
That's awful.
So, yeah, this is why you don't buy on launch, kids. Ever. Because you're paying full price for an unpatched product. That, in this case, doesn't fucking work.
Yeah, this is a real shame. And a huge botch on their part. You know, and Square Enix never, like, admits to their own faults, so... we'll see what happens there, but Jesus Christ, that's inexcusable. And a really good way to ensure that, you know, people don't buy the game when they when they could be buying it, you know.
Yep.
This also was from you as well.
Yeah, this was a surprise because it's an update for a game that's like how old now? Like 4 years, 5 years?
Well, no, this is the online one. So it is updated. Yeah.
Okay.
So this was the one that was on Stadia. This is where it originated on Stadia, not the Switch, like you're thinking.
Okay, but yeah, this is Bomberman R online. There's been a new character for it because, you know, it's a Konami game, so they'll throw in, you know, the Vic Viper, Pyramid
Head.
Head.
Season 3 right now, by the way.
Whatever. But yeah, Pyramid Head, Simon Belmont, you know, and then for the system, like the console exclusive stuff, there was, I think, Ratchet on PS4 and Master Chief on Xbox. I think that's how it worked.
Yeah.
There's a new character for Bomberman R Online, and very strangely, it's Ryo, the primary, like, playable character, or, well, just your protagonist, in Suikoden 2, which is one of the, now that I've finally played it, I get to actually say this, it's one of the best JRPGs of its era. It's, I'm not done with the Suikoden games, but I hear it's the best Suikoden game, and it's really, really, really good. And so he's back. It's just like Pyramid Head. Like, Silent Hill's been dead for like 10 years. Oh, whoops, Pyramid Head's back in Bomberman. So Suikoden has been dead since the DS. But whoops, Ryo's back. He's in Bomberman. But like on one hand, this is cool, but on the other hand, it kind of just makes me mad because this is what Konami's doing. They're just like recycling their old games. They're putting characters from series you want into stuff like Bomberman, but they're not actually doing anything with those series, and it just drives me crazy.
They've been doing this for a long time. They've been doing that ever since like the 360 when they stopped caring. Like on the 360, that's when they started making like the Odomadius games, and then like the Odomadius games had like the characters that you wanted to see in like their own games, but they so they would put like Castlevania characters in that instead of giving you a new Castlevania
It's just
game.
entirely banking on nostalgia now. When's the next Silent Hill game? I don't know, but remember Pyramid Head? Yeah, I do. All right.
It's really annoying.
Remember back in like the early 2000s? Yes. Remember back in this case the 90s? Yes.
Well, moving on. Metroid Dread got Game of the Year from Time magazine, so that's pretty cool. Considering what ulterior motive could you have for naming that game Game of the Year? I mean, like it's not like anybody lobbied for that, so that's pretty cool. That just means that the quality of that game really stands for itself. I'm really glad that Metroid is getting a spotlight, and it is from a genuinely good game. I'm really, really happy. I mean, I haven't beaten the game yet, but I already love it, so I just need to go back to it. So Moon, the anti-RPG that I've talked about many times in the past, made by Onion Games, the makers of a lot of crazy fun stuff, including Tulip back in the day and Rule of Rose.
I have those. I have a copy of Tulip.
But they now make a lot of, like, actually really fun games. Like their current games are really a lot of fun, but this was a game that they made back on the PlayStation 1 that they finally released in English on the Switch. They are finally releasing it on PS4, PS5, and Steam, so Lotus will get a chance to play it if he so wishes.
I've actually owned the physical Switch version for months and months now, but maybe now I could actually play the thing.
Yeah, it's a great game and a really good experience. So basically, like, a typical, like, RPG hero is just going around the world causing havoc, and you're basically picking up the pieces and putting back the world like back together again, which is an amazing concept when you think about it, because like you really are fucking shit up, like when you're a hero in a lot of games, you're really messing.
Well, you know what it makes me think of is that, like, I forgot the exact title, but that like visceral cleanup duty game.
Yeah, exactly.
Where you're just the janitor on like the Dead Space Ishimura, and like the hero already beat the game, and you're like, well, now I gotta clean all this alien gunk off the walls and shit.
Exactly. So next thing is one of my favorite shmup series, Deathsmiles. 1 and 2 is now out for Xbox, Switch, and PS4.
I love, like, I mean, I'm not a shooter guy, but those games' aesthetic and soundtrack are fantastic.
Yeah, especially the first game. The first game is Halloween themed.
Yes,
and it is a 2D game, and the music in both is really good, but the aesthetics and everything in the first game are like spot on, and it's a really one of the best shmups of all time. It's really, really good. It does have a lolly thing going on, which isn't my thing, but everything else about it's great.
Yeah, it must be so hard for you as a shooter fan when like 65% of shooter games are like that. Can I please just have a plane?
It used to be way worse. It's gone back to where like that's actually spaceship. Not. It's an exception when the lolly stuff, or like, you know, the sexy stuff comes out anymore. A lot of shmup stuff now is actually planes, which I'm very happy about. But like, you know, like over it was what's that game? Overpower. That one's really good. Crimson Clover. All of the really great, like, well-revered shmups that have been coming out. I mean, Blackbird, which is the one made by Onion Games. you're a bird. You're a crow. So, like, there's, like, a lot of really good stuff. I mean, Raiden is still not tainted by that kind of stuff, so... Yeah, there's plenty to like. Deathsmiles 2 is a good game, but it's in 3D, and it's kind of really early-ish looking 3D. It's, like, not as high budget as it should be, so it doesn't look quite as good. But it does have a really cool aesthetic. It's Christmas-themed, especially for this time of year. I will warn you that this is a game that is being put out by City Connection. And City Connection has had a lot of bad press lately, especially concerning the Cotton games that they put out recently.
Oh, sure.
The Saturn tribute games had really, really awful lag. So I do not know the current feeling on this port of Deathsmiles 1 and 2. So I would check one of the like the shmup like YouTube channels that like gets a lot of hits, like Shmup Junkie or you know, Shmups on Switch, because those guys really do put those games through their paces and say whether they're good ports or not. So I would go off of that. I wouldn't go in blind. And this is coming from a fan of Deathsmiles. So I hope it's good, but you always have to wonder. So the last time Deathsmiles came out was on Steam. So and the second one has only ever come out in a very weird, like, online only release on Xbox 360, and it was like an import. So like, it was really weird that we even had access to it in the US, but like they didn't translate it or anything, and this one I think is translated.
That makes me think of like Cho Aniki on the PlayStation Store.
Yeah, exactly. It was
just
like
randomly. It's like, here, have one. This is one of like
we
the
were lazy.
4 untranslated PlayStation games we have.
Yeah, we were lazy. If you want this is here, but fuck you.
It's so weird.
Choke on it. We know you want this, and we know you'll buy it, but you'll also grit your teeth at the fact that you can't read it. Fuck you. Yeah, then that's how they handled it back then. But luckily this is out in English, so just do yourself a favor and check to see if it's a good port first. I would imagine that, you know, PS4 is the version to play, but you know, who knows? I don't know the status of the Switch one. It is notable that the other cave games that have been released on the Switch, as of recently, it was Dodonpachi, Resurrection, Spoluta 2, and Mushihime-sama are all really good. All 3 of those were really good ports, and they were on the Switch. So, let's see. Clockwork Aquario, by a once lost game, arcade game by Westone, the makers of the Wonder Boy games, is now out in North America on PS4.
Yeah, there's some really cool animations for that game too. Like, the characters are very expressive and just not full on fluid, but they have more frames of motion, like, because it's an arcade game and not a console port.
Yeah, if you're a fan of the Wonder Boy games or games of that era, it's a very colorful like arcade game that fits right in. I mean, it is a $20 like old arcade game, so like, I mean, you have to be into that kind of thing.
Yeah, be aware that precisely because it's an arcade game, it's meant to be beaten in like 30 minutes. Like, it would only take you longer than that, because normally it would munch your quarters, but now it's not that, so you just beat it.
But let it be known that it is a good arcade game.
Yeah, I've seen it. It looks great.
Era. So, and definitely worth your time. I'm waiting for my physical copy because I got it via Strictly Limited a very long time ago.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're going to be waiting. Like, they deliver, and they deliver good product, but it takes a while.
Yeah. Like I said about them previously, I like their products, but I think they're a little expensive.
They're a little
and
expensive,
I think they take
and
a little
also
while.
We got to wait for something to get here from Germany.
Yeah, exactly. Windjammers 2 got an official release date. It's been delayed for a very long time. It got first announced back in 2018, so it's been it's almost 4 years. it's okay. They have been keeping people .emu have been keeping people up to date, and they really want to make sure that this is a game that like supplants the original as the game to play. So they want it to. They really, really, really want it to fit right. They reverse engineered the original game so that it felt like it. Like they literally took apart the physics so they could copy it. So that is like an attention to detail. Windjammers is all about the feel, right? It would not be the game that people like fell in love with it many years later without how it feels. So I'm really looking forward to this because they are putting as much time and care as humanly possible into ensuring that this is a good release and that this is what you want to play from a Windjammers sequel. I'm honestly really excited because .emu has put out some really, really good remakes and sequels in recent years. They put out Streets of Rage 4, which I was happy with, and they put out the Wonder Boy 3 remake, which was excellent. And they just put out a lot of really good stuff. So this is something I think is going to be really good. It's coming out next month. So I'm looking forward to that. And speaking of Yuji Naka stuff, he announced on Twitter that he put out a free game that he made himself, and this was the first game he ever made himself. So he was really proud of it, after saying he was completely retired from video games after Balan Wonderworld. And who could blame him for being bummed after basically making the game that was worse reviewed than probably any other high profile title. I can't think of any other high profile title that missed the mark more than this. I mean, you had Cyberpunk, but eventually that game came together, right? But this game is just straight up bad. Like Cyberpunk was disappointing, but this is just
it depends on your perspective, because Balan Wonderworld works, but like it has a lot of redundancy.
It's simplistic.
It's overly simplistic. The QTEs when you deal with Balan are like literally the same QTEs and movie each time, and you're like, oh come on, it's stuff like that. Yeah,
well. He put out an iOS Android game for free called Shot 2048, and so it's great. It's free. So what you need to do is you need to make the purpose is to shot the same number to make 2048, but aim for more. It's the most Japanese description of anything I've ever seen in my life. But essentially, what you have a whole bunch of dice that you're throwing into this little area, and you're trying to add up all the dice in that area to come up with 2048, depending on your rolls.
Jeez, that's bizarre.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks like fun. It looks kind of like almost like Bust-A-Move. Just from the look of it. I'll link you the page so you can at least look at a screenshot of it. So I'm not trying to describe it, but it looks like you're throwing a whole bunch of D&D dice to try to add up to a certain specific number. It does look like fun, but it does look simplistic. I think it's probably good that he released it for free. But looks like, you could have some fun with it. I downloaded it just for shits and giggles. Why not? It's free, right? And let's see here. Speaking of Sega stuff, they announced a new Sega Astro Mini, the Sega Astro Mini V, which stands for vertical, I believe.
That makes sense.
It's in Tate mode. Which is, vertical screen, whereas horizontal is, what is that, Hori mode? I think they just call it Hori. But anyway, so this Tate mode version of the Astro City Mini comes loaded with shmups, and shmups that have hardly ever left the arcade, even in Japan. So Japan only. So this is really exciting for shmup fans because there's some really cool stuff in here. There's also some weird additions from like old Sega games that nobody wants in there, but I'll read them off. Action Fighter, I don't know that one. I know Aero Fighters, which is Sonic Wings. That's a good game. That's really, really a lot of fun. Armed Police, Bat Rider, that's a really fun shmup. I think that's Taoplan. Actually, a whole bunch of these are Taoplan games. Batsugun, which is probably the best Taoplan shmup ever made. A lot of people consider it to be the first Danmaku game, Bullet Curtain game, Bullet Hell game. Battle Brigade Unlimited version. Cosmo Police Galavan, which is based off of an anime, I think. Desert Breaker, I don't know that one. Dogyun, which is another Taoplan game. Fire
Isn't that
Shark,
like an explosion onomatopoeia? Like, Dokyan!
I think so.
It just sounds like when like Kenshiro kills a Hokuto thug.
So no, I think you're absolutely right.
Same with Dodon, I think.
Well, I was right about to say this. That Taoplan basically became Cave when they fell apart. So that makes sense, right? They made Donpachi. The same people made Donpachi. Moving on. Fire Shark, which is the shmup where you're like in a biplane. It's pretty famous. They just put that out actually on the M2 Shot Triggers collection. Wait, no, they put out Twin Cobra. I'm sorry, but anyway, Fire Shark is another famous one. Grindstormer, which is was a game that they released on the Genesis, but the arcade version's a lot better. Gunbird, which is actually a Psycheo game. But that one's a really good one, so I'm glad that's on there. Mooncresta, which is that's really funny that that's in there. Mooncresta is like an old school, like almost like Galaxian-esque shmup, where you can like get different attachments to your ship. That's like the gimmick.
Well, wasn't that like the April Fool's joke that turned out not to be an April Fool's joke where they released Soulcresta?
So Soulcresta is the new game that Platinum is making that is a sequel to Mooncresta. So Soulcresta is the new game, but this is the old one. It is like the third or fourth game in the series that Platinum's making. Outzone, which is really fun. That's a shmup also made by Taoplan that you're a guy on foot, and that one's really cool. Raiden, which is like one of the most famous shmups of all time, that's really good. Samurai Aces, which might be Psycheo's best game, it's really good. Sorcerer Striker, which is an amazing game. That one's really good. They put that on M2 Shot Triggers on PS4 as well. That's a really amazing game, but this is the only one to not make it to the United States for whatever fucking reason. I don't know. Well, and the Twin Cobra one that just came out, and maybe the Compile one. But anyway, maybe I'm wrong. Strikers 1945, an awesome Psycheo game. I love that game. Tatsujin, or Truxton, if you
yeah, they have Truxton 1 and 2, don't they?
Yeah, but this is just the first one. Terra Cresta, that's the original one. Mooncresta is the second one, and Soulcresta is going to be the third. Okay. Oh wait, no, Truxton 2 is on this. You're right. Tatsujin O. You are correct. Wrestle War. Why? Wrestle War is an awful wrestling game by Sega. It has no reason to be on here other than maybe it used a vertical orientation. Maybe that's why. And for some reason, Zaxxon. Which, it's a shmup and it's made by Sega, I guess, and it has a vertical screen, but it doesn't fit in with these shmups. But Zaxxon's great. I actually really do like Zaxxon. It's just kind of old compared to like the rest of the ones in here. But
well, yeah, it's like releasing all these new shooters and then like Galaga. Like, oh, okay.
I mean, I understand Galaga because that's like a foundational game, but like Zaxxon doesn't really evolve anything. Like,
okay.
it just like can you think of any other isometric shmups like that are like hallmarks of the genre other than Zaxxon?
Not really.
Yeah, come on. I mean, Zaxxon is basically like complicated Scramble. Like if you ever played like Konami Scramble, where you have to like, hit the fuel depots. It's very similar to that, but you have to watch your height and all that crap. So Zaxxon's really difficult, but I like it. But Jesus, but I might have to buy this. This would be the perfect thing to put on my home bar. But the first one was so damn expensive. That was one of the things that, like, I would have bought it if it weren't so damn expensive.
Yeah.
This is still the same price, which is basically $200, and that's without like the extras, like the extra controller that you would want, so you could play it 2-player, and like all the stuff like to make it look like an actual arcade cabinet with a little stand and all that stuff. Probably costs you like $350 by the end of it, especially if you're importing it. And Limited Run did bring the original one to the United States, so I guess there is a chance that they'll bring this one. That one sold out like immediately.
Yeah, that one vanished immediately. Speaking of Limited Run, by the way, I did pre-order Windjammers 2.
Oh, did they have an opening? Did they open for that?
Well, they did, but this was one of those, like, 2-wave ones. It's not a month-long pre-order.
Oh, is it already over?
I believe so.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You miss something, and then you miss it, right?
I'm not 100% sure about that. There was another game that I wanted that was part of that was definitely 2 waves. I mean, if they still have stock, they still have stock. I'm not 100% sure, actually.
Well, I definitely want to see whether I can pick this up. No, I can still order the PS4 version of Windjammers, which I will. I'm gonna order a copy of that for sure.
Oh yeah, it's on Switch and PS4, and they're both still open.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely get on that. You scared me. Well,
I didn't know if it was one of the things that was on Waves, because one of the things that I ordered was totally part of Waves. Maybe this one isn't, I guess.
Which one? What was the other game you got? I
don't even know if you would have heard of this. Do you know the company that made like The Infectious Madness of Dr. Decker and The Shape-Shifting Detective?
No, but that sounds like something.
They're these FMV like choose your own adventure games.
Okay.
They did a prequel spin-off of The Shape-Shifting Detective.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I'll get a Windjammers 2. $35, no problem. I'll order that.
Yeah. And anyway, the last item on the list is amusingly probably the thing that I'm most excited about, as stupid as it is. Do you remember... I mean, Vice, you wrote the list, so I'm not asking you. Audience, do you remember The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, the cartoon? I don't mean the Saturday one, I mean the weekday one, which was just batshit insane. Because that's coming on Blu-ray.
With scratching around.
with Sonic Says.
Oh, yeah. Where, like, they totally did, like, the like, G.I. Joe thing, but, like...
yeah, but that's not even, like, that's not its fault. Like, every show had to have something like that to justify it not being mindless entertainment for kids. Oh, no, we're educational. So, like, that's not Sonic's problem. You know, like, He-Man did it, G.I. Joe did it, Captain Planet did it. Like, I think Sailor Moon, the American version,
definitely did it. Definitely.
Where they, like, awkwardly played clips from earlier in the episode that were not ever meant to be educational, but they're kind of like... well, see what's happening here is tangentially related to the message that I'm trying to give here. It was so awkward.
But yeah, so this is considered to be like the lesser of the two. Still, both of them were voiced by Jaleel White.
Yes. Oh, and here's something I'll point out about this, by the way. Definitely the lesser of the two in terms of like cool story and a plot that you care about, but
and animation too.
That's true, and animation. But even in that regard, looking back on it decades later, this show is so bananas that like you might actually come around on it.
Yeah, it has some very like deeper stuff than you think. Like there's one episode where they're like Dr. Robotnik is trying to sell like one of his technologies, like his mind like takeover technology, and like he tries to sell it to a general who all he wants is stupid soldiers who will listen to everything he says. It's just like, wow.
Wow.
Political commentary in this.
But I wasn't even thinking about that. I'm just thinking clever things they do with animation that, like... It's like Looney Tunes stuff where, like, you know, he grabs you through the TV screen and stuff like that. Like, this show went way over the top of that stuff.
They even had, like, a salesman character with, like, a plaid, like, a plaid pattern that, like, moved with, like the plaid moves in the background. Like, the animation itself doesn't move, but the background moves. It's
no, I know. It's
a weird technique. Yeah.
Like that show, like, it's not a very good show if you're like, oh, I wonder what happens next episode. It's not like that, but like it's so fucking weird that it's kind of fascinating.
Yeah. I will tell you this, that there is a slight connection between the two cartoons. The two
Well, yeah,
Sonic
Jaleel
cartoons.
White.
Well, no, there's that. But Princess Sally Acorn makes a brief cameo.
I don't think I knew this.
Cameo at the very end of the last episode, which is the Christmas episode. It's like Sonic's Christmas Blast.
That's absolutely insane.
It's the tie-in to Sonic 3D Blast, and she appears like basically half on the screen and doesn't say anything for like half a second.
That's insane.
And I think it's her original like comic book incarnation where she's pink, like for the first 20 issues.
Yeah, that was. Well, I always wondered if that was actually Princess Sally, because I remember, like, I still have it, Sonic CD.
Yeah.
Like, the instruction manual calls that character Princess Sally, but, like, I always just assumed that was Amy Rose before America discovered the name Amy Rose.
No. In the Archie comic, Princess Sally went through a design change. Her original incarnation was pink and with like black hair on top, which is kind of funny because.
So does that mean that Amy Rose herself is kind of like a wink of a callback? Or is it a coincidence?
Amy Rose was originally a character from Sega's Sonic CD, so that was even.
But that's what I just said. Like Amy Rose was that pink character they had to save in like Starlight Speedway, but the manual calls her Sally, and I'm like, but that's Amy.
Yeah, I don't know. That maybe they were trying to tie it in. I
don't know if they were trying to tie it in, or they just didn't know better, or what.
Yeah, I don't know. Princess Sally was only ever in one game. Can you tell me which game she was in?
I think I might be wrong about this, but the only game I can think of that did the TV stuff was maybe Mean Bean Machine.
You're on the right track.
Because they had Scratch and Grounder in that.
You're on the right track, but it's Sonic Spinball. Yeah, Sonic Spinball has a bonus game where you like hit the characters from the cartoon and or comic book.
Oh, that's so weird.
So like the walrus is in it, Rotor.
Okay.
And
the rabbit who's a cyborg, so she's Rabbot.
Yeah. She's basically like the rogue of that. Like she says "shug" all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, she's got a bit of a southern twang.
Well, she's also like got like she's half robotized.
So I said she's a cyborg, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, like...
She's got like a robot arm and a leg, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it's... but, yeah, it's kind of an awful cartoon, but, like... but interesting. So,
well, that's kind of what I'm saying. Yeah, it's not great, but, like... It's so crazy you might just like it.
I mean, I would probably like going back to it. I would watch it maybe once, but
that's another good point. Is that it makes me think of the Three Stooges, where like I'll turn on an episode and I'll enjoy it, but I cannot watch more than one episode at a time.
Yeah,
even if I'm into it. Same goes for like '60s Batman. Every episode's a two-parter, so I'll watch both parts. But then I gotta take a break.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. No, I get that. That's just the way these kinds of things are. I mean, for what it's worth, this show was better than any of the Mario shows from that era. The Mario shows are awful. They're really bad shows for babies, if you ask me. And I didn't even like them back then, honestly.
But the Mario did not have Sonic Says.
They were at least higher quality than any of those. Captain N was marginally better than that, but the Sonic's probably the best of the bunch, unfortunately. But the other Sonic show is way better, and more beloved and more remembered. The ABC AM one, that I don't think is on Blu-ray yet, but still, if you are really into Sonic, because you like the aesthetic.
Oh boy.
Maybe I'm gonna get a bunch of heat from Sonic lovers, but I'm not banking on it. We have.
No, I mean that show, like, again, like, it was the kind of thing like that like Homer Simpson did when he was Krusty, like, as a joke. Like, do you remember when he was supposed to ride the little tricycle through the loop?
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
But instead of going up and above the loop because he's so heavy, he like pulls the loop in and like crushes it. Like, Sonic did that in like the opening credits. And it's just like, oh man, so this is the kind of show it's gonna be.
He also had a penchant for saying the insult slow-mo.
Later slow-mo. In fact, actually, I think in one of the newer Sonic games, maybe Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric, possibly, but Sonic, or maybe like Generations, I don't remember, but like Sonic addresses his love for chili dogs, which comes from this show, because that was never a thing. Yeah. But this show, it's kind of like
in the comics too. It's in the comics, but
even then, was that like, because like it makes me think of like Mortal Kombat 9, where Kano just has the Australian accent because the movie just cemented it in our heads. It makes me think of that. Like, Sonic likes chili dogs in the cartoon. You know what? Fuck it. He likes chili dogs. It's fine.
It's more like, kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, Peter Quill is all of a sudden really into, like...
80s music?
Yeah, early 80s, late 70s rock.
That was so impactful in the movie. You know what? We're keeping it. Or like how Catwoman in Batman the Animated Series carries a whip. We talked about this one already. From Batman Returns.
Like, Mr. Freeze is the good Mr. Freeze, not the old... one that nobody cares about.
Well, that makes sense because the previous Mr. Freeze like wasn't a character, but these are like established characters that we still like, but this one change was so like either impactful or repeated that we're just gonna keep it.
Yeah. I mean, give the people what they want, right?
Yeah.
But anything else for the good of the order, Lotus? We had quite the episode here.
Oh yes, but I think I'm good.
Okay, that's the show for this week. Well, please remember to subscribe to the Corrective Consciousness YouTube and Soundcloud pages. While there, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. Helps promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. You can also catch us on Thursday for our sister podcast, Corrective Consciousness, where we will be going over some Christmas media. Finally, you can friend me as vysethebold on pretty much anything. Just give me a heads up. Let me know who you are.
And you can follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you are interested in seeing my videos early, getting in on exclusive live streams, selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play, or getting in conversations with me and other patrons on Discord, then perhaps consider swinging by my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/LotusPrince.
Well, that's just prime. We will catch everybody on Thursday then for a pre-holiday gathering. We'll catch you there.
Until next time, everyone.
Bye-bye.